Hello, hello, and welcome back to My GF Makes Me Read Homestuck with My GF.
Harm.
Yay! When we last left off, we had read an exorbitant amount of comments, but in terms of the plot, John was being a dumbass. Jack, ascend. What? Hey, Toby Fox music. Them hips, though.
Sorry, I'm too distracted by the banger music.
I'll bang your music. Grr.
No, you're thinking of hips.
Hmm? So are we watching the birth of the Midnight Crew here? Whoa.
Meow.
What the fuck? Why are their parents all such badasses? Oh, and for him it's his older brother! Instead of his parent.
God, there's so much sauce in this.
Lost in the sauce. Oh, this looks bad. Okay, so some shit just happened apparently.
Yeah.
End of year 1.
Man, imagine if we had made it for the anniversary.
Yeah. Why isn't all
Man,
that
that was
zoom back
wonderful.
out? There we go. Alright. Locate the fourth wall. Wait, okay, so there's a minor audio issue there. Uh-oh. I hope it was... I know the recording will be fine.
I know I've been having robot brain in my ear. 10 out of 10.
So
Oh well.
activate? Whoa! And Andrew, engage a highly indulgent self-insertion into the story. Huh.
What? Huh.
That's Andrew Hussey, huh?
Wait. Oh, you clicked further than I realized.
Oh,
Alright, okay. Gotcha.
We're at what? Oh, hell no.
Where are we?
I'm looking at Andrew Hussey saying, what? Oh, hell no.
Oh yeah, okay, I got it.
Yeah, on my end, the recording,
frick,
the
I need to
audio
read
should have
that.
been fine.
I'm the narrator. Oh,
You're
a
Andrew.
week and I'm fucking forgotten what happened.
You're Andrew Hussey.
Actually, 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What? Oh hell no. This is always such a terrible idea. Leave me alone.
Andrew Hussey, examine the fourth wall.
You really wish your side of the wall had an off switch. Which is to say, I really wish my side of the wall had an off switch.
Andrew Hussey, forget it. Go back to work. I like his shirt.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you're just going to ask me to recap Homestuck, though. I don't know why you'd want to sit there and watch me type. This is going to be pretty long.
Oh man, pretty good way to open an episode, huh? Andrew Hussey, recap the first year of Homestuck.
Homestuck began on April 13th, 2009, the 13th birthday of our chief protagonist and future boy Skylark, John Egbert. 3 days prior was supposed to be the day he received the Spurt Beta in the mail, but it was running late. It showed up later that afternoon, and after overcoming a variety of domestic adversities, he retrieved the game, along with a birthday package from his internet friend, Dave Strider. John soon established a game connection with another friend, Rose Lalonde, who'd spent the day badgering him about playing with her after unsuccessfully attempting to convince Dave to play. Upon connecting, Rose was able to manipulate John's environment, move his furniture around via cursor, and restruct the shape of his room. John was unable to do this to Rose's environment, however. He'd installed the client copy of the beta and required the server copy for that. The server copy was trapped in his dad's car, along with a birthday package from another friend, Jade Harley. Jade messaged John inquiring about the package. As of this moment, neither her package nor the server copy has been recovered by John. Rose had also prepared a package for John, but had not mailed it yet. It still sits in her room. Dave's package contained the authentic stuffed bunny from Conair. In addition to allowing Rose to control John's environment, Spurp provided an array of devices Rose deployed throughout John's house. These devices used together provided a system by which the player could manufacture an item using the code on the back of that item's capture card, if they gathered enough grist to pay for it. Later, they would learn to combine item codes to master the art of punch card alchemy, whereby items could be fused together in purpose of design. One device, on being activated, began a countdown, and released an entity called a kernel sprite. Jesus Christ, I just realized when scrolling how long this is. Do you want the whole recap?
Oh, holy shit. I didn't realize it was gonna be this. Part of me kind of wanted the recap. Because, like,
I
you
mean,
know.
if you want it, I can give it. I just wanted to make sure it's consensual recapping.
It's gonna be a lot, pretty much a whole episode if it's some hidden lore in the recaps. Just skim it is what Mr. Mr. Freako says. Well, Recursive says it's literally just a recap.
Alright, I can try and speedrun it, but that will be like 5 minutes of awfulness, so...
Your call.
I don't know. I'll just keep reading. The countdown ticked down to the moment John's house would be struck.
Wait, I lost my place. Which paragraph? Which paragraph?
I don't know. I'm looking at one device on being activated.
Oh, there we go. I found it.
Countdown and released an entity called the kernel sprite. The countdown ticked down to the moment John's house would be struck by a meteor, destroying his neighborhood. To escape this demise, John had to use the device to manufacture a special item that looked like a blue apple and take a bite out of it in order to transport his entire house just before impact to the safety of a mysterious dark realm, where his house would be situated itself atop a tall rock column high above, blanketed of clouds. This realm is called the Medium.
I'm not gonna lie, this is low-key partially helpful for me because we've been reading this over the course of months with long breaks in between.
Fair. Before he entered the Medium, though, John and Rose prototyped his kernel sprite with the large Harlequin doll his dad got him for his birthday, transforming the sprite to bear its likeness, including the ways the doll was disfigured via earlier hijinks. It had a slashed eye and one arm, and so too did the sprite. When John entered the Medium, the sprite's kernel hatched, thus imbuing all the enemy John and his friends would face with properties of the sprite. The lesser adversaries John faced first, Shale Imps, all wore Harlequin garbs. They became more powerful and more radically mutated with each successive pre-medium prototyping. After entering the Medium, John's dad was kidnapped by Imps. While John was looking for him, he accidentally prototyped the sprite with his grandmother's ashes, transforming it again. This prototyping had no effect on the enemies, since he was already in the Medium and the kernel had already hatched. Instead, Only the sprite was affected, and it took on the appearance, personality, and memories of his grandmother, becoming Nana Sprite, a game-supplied albeit customized guide for John. She explained aspects of the game, about Skaya residing at the center of the medium, beyond 7 gates, floating directly above his house, and about an eternal, timeless war, fought there between dark and light, one that light was always destined to lose. Rose, who had been having frequent internet connection issues, lost her connection as she tried to lift John's car to retrieve the game and the package. The car fell into the abyss below. A storm caused her house to lose power along with its wireless internet connection. Her laptop was able to run on battery power for a time, while she tapped into the wireless signal from the laboratory next door. When her laptop ran out of power, she had to overcome more family strife and endure a gift pony in the process. Go outside in the rain, plug it into the small generator outside the mausoleum of her dead cat Jasper. She continued her session with John inside the mausoleum, where the meteor-spark forest fire surrounding her house grew more intense. From the house, Rose's mom opened a secret passage into the mausoleum to help her escape. The passage led to the lab next door, where Rose found a stable, portable source of power and internet for her computer. She also found a terminal projecting the impact, times, and locations for the millions of meteors presently bombarding the planet, along with all the other live sessions of other players around the world. She also found a little girl's room, a mutant kitten she named Vodka Mutini, and a cloning machine operating through the science of ectobiology. Its terminals was locked onto her cat. Its terminal was locked onto her cat Jasper, at whatever point in his life the user specified. She attempted to purify Jasper's from a moment in her early childhood, before he whispered a secret to her. But doing so would have caused a paradox, so it paradoxified a pile of slime instead. The machine used the slime to create a fetal paradox clone of Jasper's in a glass tube. On the monitor, Jasper's then told young Rose the secret, then vanished, only to show up dead weeks later and put in the mausoleum for years until the present. Rose left the laboratory moments before it was destroyed by a meteor impact. She transportalized back to her mom's room, proceeded to her room to wait for Dave to connect with her and rescue her from the next imminent impact. Dave was charged with acquiring his bro's copy of the game to help Rose. Earlier, he had lost his copy of the game to a mishap involving a crow. It flew in his window, seized the game, and Dave accidentally impaled it with a sword, sending the crow and the game out the window onto a landing far below his apartment. He searched his bro's room, unable to find it, was briefly shadowed by Lil Cal, and then found a note beckoning him to meet on the roof for a confrontation. Dave and his bro dueled on the roof extensively, and Dave was thoroughly bested. Upon defeating Dave, his bro dropped the copies of the game and flew off on his rocket board into the sky. Dave used the copies to connect with Rose and quickly deployed the devices while her house was on fire, surrounded by flaming tornadoes and minutes away from being destroyed by a meteor. Rose prototyped her kernel sprite with Jasper's, specifically to understand the meaning of the secret he whispered to her years ago. She was advised to do this by Jade, who told her about the game in the first place. Dave then prototyped the kernel sprite again with the tentacle princess doll, given to Rose on her birthday by her mom. Both of these prototypings would have an effect on the enemies once Rose entered the medium and the kernel hatched. Rose used the alchemitter to create the special item, for her, a purple wine bottle, which she needed to break to enter. She eventually did, transporting her house just before the meteor collided. The meteor left a crater. Over time, at the site of impact, a large white structure that looked like a wine bottle grew there, and the crater filled up with sand as the climate of the post-apocalyptic Earth gradually changed. The cork of the bottle was a large metal cylinder, with an interior much like an advanced science station, with a variety of devices and monitors inside. 413! Forward 13! Years after the meteor impact, the wayward vagabond walked through the desert and discovered the station. Inside, he found canned rations, a firefly he named Serenity, and a purifier, and 4 monitors hooked up to a keyboard.
That's actually a new piece of lore. We just knew it was at some point in the future. Now we know it's specifically 413 years in the future.
Yeah, I guess we do.
We're getting a timeline now.
Mm-hmm.
I love you.
Love you too. On one of the monitors was John, just after he'd entered the medium. The wayward vagabond could type commands to John directly, much as the reader of this story could type commands for the characters to follow. Most of John's actions upon entering the medium were authored by WV until he became preoccupied with other activities such as building a town out of cans, playing chess with cans, and drawing chalk murals depicting the cosmological arrangement of Skya, the medium, the light, and dark planets known as Prospect and Durs, and the 4 planets the kids would each occupy upon entering the game, called the Land of Wind and Shade, the Land of Light and Rain, the Land of Heat and Clockwork, and Jade's planet, which is yet to be seen. He also activated a countdown in the station, which caused it to blast out the crater and fly to the designation Home coordinates. Along the way, it passed over the sand-filled crater that was the impact site for John's meteor and the other side of the continent. John's meteor had caused a giant white tree to grow in its crater. The tree grew an apple-like station from a branch, which fell to the sand. The peregrine mendicant found this station after a wayward vagabond flew overhead. Peregrine mendicant activated her station, homing. Oh god, this is like a fucking marathon. And it's not even fucking halfway done, hussy! Homing feature as well, which caused it to fly to the same destination. Along the way, she used her terminal to attempt to command Jade, who from this perspective of the terminal had just arrived in the medium. This caused the terminal to explode for unknown reasons, leaving a hole in the station. One of the station's robotics worms recovered one of PM's falling mailboxes, and she befriended it, after earlier slaying another one with her black Regisword. The wayward vagabond landed on the site of the ancient frog ruins across the now dried-up Pacific Ocean. The site was once the island where Jade lived, but nothing of the island remained except for the ruins. The mountain her house was on and the volcano next to it were replaced by a large empty chasm. Male lady landed shortly after the wayward vagabond, and they met. They were confronted by the aimless renegade, who fired at them from the frog ruins with an old weaponry he'd been hoarding, once belonging to Jade's grandpa. Millions of years ago, the frog ruins grew from a crater struck by a meteor that emerged from Spur portal in space. Jade's radioactive omnipotent space warping dog named Becquerel emerged from this crater as well. Jade's grandpa pioneered this island and built the house Jade lives in. Her grandpa has been dead for many years and stands stuffed in front of the fireplace, if you know what I mean.
So, I want to throw out a quick theory I've developed. The meteorite that caused the island to grow was from another playing of Spurb at some point in the distant past, and this is not the first time it's occurred. And at some point in the past, I like to think that her grandpa, Dave, or John's dad, Dave's brother, and Rose's mom were all players, and that's why they're all so kick-ass here.
Alright. Theory has been submitted. I shall not say anything.
And I have submitted to you.
Anyway. Where was I? Right, standing stuffed in front of the fireplace. No. She has been looked after by her dog, who she calls Beck. She begins the day with several tasks to accomplish: to feed Beck and retrieve a birthday package mailed by John. She irradiates a steak and heads outside to the site where the package will be dropped. She knows it will be dropped because one of the reminders she wears on her fingers jogs her memory about it. She wears them to keep track of the many things she knows about the future through her dreams. She
Such
falls
as
asleep
watching Shrek 2.
Weekendly and spontaneously. When she sleeps, her dream self is awake and living on the moon that orbits the light planet Prospect. Prospect very closely orbits Skya, a huge sphere of blue sky and clouds, which Nana described as a dormant crucible of unlimited creative potential. When Prospect's moon eclipses Skya, it drifts into Skya for a time, mingling with the clouds. Dream Jade then witnesses many past and future events in the clouds. While asleep, she is often confused about what is real and what isn't. When she wakes up, she pieces together future events from her memory of the cloud visions and from logs recorded by her dreambot. Her dreambot is a robotic surrogate that activates while she sleeps in her bed. It mimics in the real world the movement and actions of her dream self on the moon, and records a video log of what she sees while dreaming. Prospect's moon has 2 towers of identical design and similar design to Jade's house. Dream Jade lives in one tower. Oh god, I fucked up the pronunciation on that one. Fuck me. Dream Jade lives in one tower. Dream John lives in the other. Dream John is still asleep, and John has no knowledge of the dream world, which is to say, the entire game session he would initiate on his 13th birthday. When he goes to sleep, instead of waking up on the moon as Jade does, he remains slumbering in his dream room, tormented by his subconscious. This torment is expressed when he sleepwalks and draws troubling scribbles on the walls of his room. When awake, he cannot see the scribbles, as his subconscious suppresses his awareness of them. It is not until he has a perception-altering revelation about his dad does he begin to see them. He initially believed they were new additions to his room, perhaps scrawled by the imps. However, they were present long before, visible in his room while he prepared Jade's birthday package months ago. John prepared a package for each of his 3 friends, whose 13th birthday were December 1st, Jade, 3rd, Dave, and 4th, Rose. He gave Rose a knitting set, and she then took an intense interest in knitting. He gave Dave the pair of shades Ben Stiller wore in the Starksian hutch, which he wore from then on, replacing the shades in the style his bro wore. He gave Jade a blue version of his own ghost shirt and some pumpkin seeds to help her replace the pumpkins that kept disappearing from her garden. But she did not receive this on the birthday John intended. She received it in the past, on her birthday when she was very young, causing her to take an interest in gardening in the first place, to take a liking to blue apparel, and to eventually befriend John over the internet and lead him, Rose, and Dave down a path where they would ultimately play this game together. Jade did retrieve the almost halfway, Brian.
Go
Sorry
on.
if this is boring. Do you want to take over?
No, I'm totally chill.
Okay.
I'm okay with you doing all the reading. You have a better voice anyway.
Ah,
It makes me hard.
idiot.
But I'm your idiot.
You are. Jay did retrieve his package in the present as planned, but immediately took it to another location where it disappeared. The wayward vagabond. Why can't I not say his name?
The wayward vagabond, yes.
The wayward bag in the far future purified it from the location on accident. I love that I made myself laugh like 10 seconds later. Fucking lagging on my brain, apparently.
I love you.
Oh god. The package contained further instructions for him. He was to bring it to the mail lady, and she was to use her station scendificator to send it to another place and time. After she did this, the package appeared in front of young Jade on her birthday. Jade orchestrated the sequence of events through knowledge of them by her cloud visions. She orchestrated similar events for the package she sent to John, plotting the circuitous route through time and space it was meant to follow. She again utilized the exiles for help while they were still in a medium. The exiles, wayward I can't! The exiles, Mayor, Maylady, and Gunnut were all formerly agents of the kingdom before
Thanks
they
for
were
the follow,
exiled
all
by
true
some
spirit. So continue.
means to post-apocalyptic Earth. I keep forgetting their names. AR, as an authority regulator in the land of Wind and Shade, discovered the package and the beta copy in John's wrecked car, as he gave it a parking ticket. May Lady, working as parcel mistress, recognized the package from a correspondence she had with Jade on Prospect some time ago, and recalled it must be delivered to John. AR would not relinquish the package, though he did give her the beta, which she delivered into a Pixis to satisfy the carved request of a mini-tablet. John carved this tablet at the request of PM through the command terminal in the future. I need to take a drink, I'm sorry.
All good. You're reading a lot. Oop.
Dying. AR brought the package to Durs, where it ultimately wound up on the desk of Jack Noir. Jack is the arch-agent of the Dark Kingdom, charged with overseeing affairs through his office's fenestrated wall portals and processing paperwork. He is forced to wear a silly garment in keeping with prototyping themes by the Black Queen, an order he resentfully complies with. He oversaw the imprisonment of John's dad, who broke loose on multiple occasions. When Jack went to handle it personally, John's dad set Jack's head on fire. In a surly act of gratitude, he released the prisoner. John's dad fled to the land of wind and shade, fought large monsters, got his head dirty, and lost a shoe. He then carved a tablet request for a new ones, which John filed via Pixis, unaware of who requested them. I missed that. Maybe we never did that in the game.
Maybe. I don't. That's why this recap is very good.
Because of Dad's shoes. PM followed AR to Durs in hopes of retrieving the package. After wandering around, she encountered the Black Queen on her throne. Mommy. Both the Dark Kingdoms each have a king and queen.
She encountered the Black Queen.
The queens sit on a throne on Prospect and Durs respectively, ruling the planet. The kings command armies on the battlefield, located at the center of Skya. What?
Nothing, I was just doing stupid stuff.
Oh.
On stream.
Okay, I can't see that. The queen takes on the attributes supplied by the prototyping due to the 4-orbed rings she wears. When the ring is removed, the queen is restored to normal. PM showed the...
Wait, hang on, repeat that part?
The queen takes on the attributes supplied by the prototypings due to the 4-orbed ring she wears. When the ring is removed, the queen is restored to normal. PM showed the Black Queen a parking ticket she was pretending to deliver. The Black Queen directed her to Jack's office where the ticket should be filed. The parcel mistress met Jack and asked for the package. Jack proposed a deal and gave her a black regisword. If she would kill the White Queen and White King and bring him their crowns, he would give her the package. She accepted with little alternative. She then visited the... Who's WQ again?
Well, if we click the little link, we can find out. Oh, the White Queen.
Ah, the White Queen.
Who looks very similar to the Black Queen.
She then visited the White Queen on Prospect and explained the situation, with no intention of carrying out Jack's mission. The White Queen, understanding the futility of the situation and the need to recover the package, abdicated and gave the parcel mistress her crown and ring.
Oh, that's why.
The parcel mistress was instructed to go find the White King, retrieve his crown, and receive further instructions on what to do with the ring.
This is very helpful for helping me understand what's been happening.
I admit, yes, it is. For me as well.
It feels like it's contextualizing a lot of things a lot better. Bringing up details we missed.
The White Queen would then eventually exile herself to the post-apocalypse Earth. On post-apocalypse Earth, after AR fired on Wayward Bag and Parcel
Bilbo Baggins
from the ruins, he spotted Pumpkin, which Wayward Vagabond had earlier purified from Jade's house. He recognized the carving on Beck's silhouette on the pumpkin. Fearful of it, he surrendered. The three exiles soon became friends over a campfire and shared rations. The Wayward Vagabond and AR built Exile Town out of cans, mailboxes, and bullets. The parcel mistress operated station terminal to submit commands to John as he explored the land of wind and shade. In the sky, another station teleported and fell to the ground. It was shaped like an egg and originated from Dave's meteor impact site, in correspondence with the egg-shaped item he would use to enter the medium. Emerging from the station was the wind-swept Questant, formerly the White Queen. AR and Wayward Vagabag sought to impress Fuck Me White Queen by crafting a crown for her out of a mailbox. She refused the distinction, instead giving it to the mail lady, who had successfully completed her mission to deliver Jade's package to John in the distant past. The means by which she went about this have yet to be seen. John entered the land of wind and shade, also known as Low-Ass, by having Rose build up his house to the first gate, fighting through many imps and ogres with his powerful new alchemized weapons, and entering the gate. This took him to a location beneath the clouds, far below his house. The Lois turned to be a large windy planet. Lois!
Lois! Lois, I'm in a Homestuck.
Full of dark terrain, incandescent trees, networks of pipes, and oily rivers. In addition to hosting more powerful adversaries, the land is occupied by friendly consorts, a race of salamanders. They help John understand the mythos of the land and inform him of the planet's persecution by a sleeping denizen, which is responsible for clogging the pipes. Wink. With
I'll
oil.
clog your pipes. With
oil.
oil.
And trapping fireflies under the clouds. Trapping fireflies under the clouds? I don't remember that.
I think that got discussed. Oil.
That makes me think of Serenity. Maybe she's like the last survivor of the cloud fireflies. I lost my place. Each planet has a sleeping denizen, which the players must first wake and then kill in the course of their journey through the Seven Gates. Rose's planet, the Land of Light and Rain, Lolar, is a multicolored ocean planet with white sandy islands and pink ruins, and has a denizen, responsible for killing all life in the water. Dave's planet, the Land of Heat and Clockwork, Lohack, is a lava planet, covered in industrial steel frame structures and turning gears, and has a denizen of yet unknown qualities. Killing the denizen releases a huge grist horde buried at the core of the planet, which is then used to fuel a process known as the ultimate alchemy. Along the way, the kids are meant to learn about their destined roles in this quest, as the Heir of Breath, John, Seer of Light, Rose, Knight of Time, Dave, and Witch of Space, Jade.
So, Heir of Breath, Seer of Light, Knight of Time, and Witch of Space. So we've seen Dave can time travel. We haven't seen the factors of everyone else's stuff.
Have you not caught on to these?
What?
A lot of times the trolls and surroundings hint at these roles of the kids.
Yeah, Rose has the light planet, Clockwork, and a clock. John
getting yeeted out of the pipe by the wind.
Oh, no, I was thinking he's just on like a smoky planet and like the blur of the wind. So, earlier we got a unique map of what the weird solar system situation is, and Jade didn't have her planet yet because she hasn't entered the game yet. I really wonder what her planet's gonna look like now. And part of me hopes her entire island gets brought through, not just the house she's in. But anyway, let's continue.
Sorry. Over the course of their quest, the Dark Kingdom will inevitably defeat the Light Kingdom. The Black Queen and King will take control and initiate the Reckoning. This affects a belt
I'll
of
initiate
meteors.
the Reckoning, if you know what I'm saying.
That will also affect the belt of meteors called the Veil, which orbits far from Skya, between the 4 planets and Durs, and is host to various lab faculties used by the kingdoms. The Reckoning causes the meteors to descend on Skya, ultimately destroying it, unless the Black Queen and King can be defeated in time. Skya, however, buys time by opening defense portals to catch many of the meteors, redirecting them elsewhere in space and time. This is the generic template.
That's why meteorites are crashing on Earth, because they're being sent backwards in time, the meteors.
Okay.
Sorry, continue.
This is the generic template for the way the game is supposed to proceed. Can deviate from this model, however, depending on the action of the players and the details of the game mythology presented as unique to each group of players in the sessions. Long before John and his friends started playing the game, another group of players had been persistently trolling them, particularly Jade. They are furious about an action she will take that will cause major problems in the 4Kids game session, and inevitably lead to their defeat. Specifically, Jade will send a package to John, apparently containing a powerful weapon he will need later. But the package winds up in the hands of Jack Noir, leading to dire consequences. They allude to other things she will do that will lead to not only trouble for the 4Kids, but the troll players as well. The trolls consist of 12 kids from an alien planet who went through the same process as John and their friends, escaping from the annihilation of their planet via meteors and into the medium to play the game. Their game session is entirely separate from that of the 4Kids. It has the same basic template, with its own Skya, Prospect, Durst, Vale, and a planet for each troll, but separated game instances of these. They also have different instances of the same character templates, such as the king and queens and agents like Jack Noir.
So, what is the ultimate purpose of the game? Why is this happening? Because the meteorites, I think, were gonna crash regardless of if they installed the game or not, right? Or are the games triggering all of these events? Is the Spurb game triggering them from their or saving them from their death in order to, or is the Spurb game causing the game to begin playing through time and space in a sort of predestined, written way?
From my understanding, it's later, right? The meteors crash because the game is starting.
And them installing the game causes events to affect the past, leading to the game having to get installed anyway. This is interesting timey-wimey shit.
Yes, I know, right?
Anyway.
Alright, you got this, Arm.
By the way, for context, Arm, we are 37 minutes in. This is gonna be an extra long episode for those of you on YouTube.
I'm waiting for 37.
And, hang on, we're still not even really halfway.
I can't wait to not talk tomorrow. The trolls have completed their game session with yet unknown results. They now reside on a meteor in the Vale, sitting at terminals, trolling John and
I mean, if they're living on meteorites, then it probably didn't end well.
Hurtling towards Skya. From the terminals, they can choose any point in the past or future of the kids to troll and observe what they're doing at that moment. As a group, their only stated objective is to harass the kids, which they do so haphazardly throughout different points in the kids' timeline. Though they can choose any point of the kids' timeline to talk, they are mostly resigned to the understanding that no matter what they do, they can't change the outcome of the kids' actions. The four most vociferous trolls so far have been Carcinogeneticist, Gallows Calibrator, Grim Auxiliary, and Adios Torador? The other 8 being Apocalypse Arisen, Twin Armageddons, Arsenic Catnip, Arknit's Grip, Centaur's Testicle, Terminally Capricious, Caligula's Aquarium, and Cuttlefish Color, each yet to be heard from. So I can't wait for us to have to come up with 8 more voices for all these assholes.
Okay, he's just straight up is like, yeah, listen, there's more coming, don't worry, here's their names.
Yeah. Oh, fuck me. No, that's not an offer. Carcinogeneticist appears to have speared the group's trolling campaign. While he was in the thick of this game session, the exile commanding him from a terminal in the apocalyptic future was Spade Slick. This one difference between his game session and John's, who had Wayward Vagabond as an exile commanding him. I'm having an aneurysm. In In CG's session, his version of Jack Noir became exiled along the way and took on the name Spade Slick. 3 other agents were exiled, and the 4 of them formed a gang called the Midnight Crew, and spent years building up a
So,
dark city and few...
the Midnight Crew was part of the Trolls game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same space. Okay. Okay. Huh. So that's from their future. Sorry, continue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good. I'm glad when I don't have to read for a minute. 3 other agents were exiled, and the 4 of them formed a gang called the Midnight Crew and spent years building up a dark city in the future wasteland of the Trolls' dead planet. Another difference in the Trolls session is that at some point along the way, the Black Queen was also exiled, later joined a rival gang called the Felt, assumed special powers that make her highly advisable to kill, and came to be known as Snowman. It was not until Slick confronted the Felt in their mansion that he discovered the station terminals to command CG, and not before Snowman blinded him in one eye, severed his arm, and locked him in a vault. Each troll has a different trolling strategy and a different rhythm by which they hop around the kid's timeline to chat with them. CG's strategy for the most part was to begin trolling them at the very end of their adventure, then moment at which he was most angry with their actions, and then gradually worked backwards, mostly talking to John. This proves to be mutually frustrating, though, as John knows less and less about the situation the further into the past CG goes. Similarly, the further into the future John progresses, the more he has the advantage over CG by knowledge of his future conversations with him, and vice versa. Actually, can you go on? I can't go on.
Over the course,
Okay.
I love you.
Yeah. Okay.
Over the course of the opposing directions of the two sides of the conversation, John learned more about the nature of the game and why they're being trolled. And in spite of hostility, they gradually befriend each other through the inevitability that alludes to or both sides of the conversation. Earlier in the correspondence between John and CG, which is to say later for CG discovers he needs to get in touch with Jade, who refused to talk to him in that time period, so he delivered a message to her much earlier, months in her past, telling her she needs to contact him when she's in trouble. She will know to do this with her dream bot, or when her dream bot explodes in the future, an outcome that has not yet happened. 2 other trolls, not gonna read the name and not gonna read the name, GA and AT, have targeted only Rose and Dave thus far. GA has hopped arbitrarily back and forth in Rose's timeline to talk to her, and is attempting to cultivate a friendship with her that now seems rigged through a series of conversations and time loops, while seeking counsel from Dave on how to befriend her. AT sought counsel from Rose on how to troll Dave efficiently. After getting severely counter-trolled by him, he's under the impression he rebounded nicely though. Gallows Calibrator, GC, has stayed mostly linear in her trolling patterns, and has done so under the guise of helping the kids on their quest. She convinced John to take a shortcut through his land, shows him the denizen's space, leads him to warp back to his house, and then shows him how to fix the filthy rocket pack he made earlier through the alchemy mishap. She tells him to use the rocket pack to fly to the 7th gate, enter the denizen's place, and kill it in its sleep. He complied with this and flew through the 7th gate in spite of reservations from Dave, who had just entered the medium the moment before John took off. CG also assisted Rose, just after she bested an ogre with ease. She counseled her on understanding her role as the Seer of Light, and the meaning of the voice in her head as the exile issuing commands from a terminal, or a terminal. In her case, it was the exiled White Queen that's why I had the fancy text. Issuing commands from the egg-shaped station in the future. Since Dave is Rose's server player, the terminal situation from Dave's impact site issues commands to Rose, just as the situation in Rose's site, which WV found, issues commands to John, her client player. After conversing with GA, Rose found Jasperite and interrogated him about the secrets which she found maddeningly mysterious years ago. He explained elements of the mythos to her land, or of the mythos of her land, and how she'd learned to play the rain, to produce the musical analog of the genetic code to reinforce life in the ocean. In response to her questions about his secrets, about his secret, he simply replied, "Meow." She mistook this for more nonsense, but it was in fact the secret he told her years ago. A 4-letter sequence, MEOW, unlocks the genetic code in her subconscious, which she would spend years scrawling on her wall using letters in place of the typically used GCAT letters. While completely oblivious to the scrawlings and their meaning, Jade just as John was, as Jasper said, just as John was. As Jasper said, she would understand their meaning when her dream self wakes up.
Alright, I'm gonna try and do the last sprint. I got this, I hope.
Okay.
Rose's dream self lives in a tower on the moon of Durs. Dave's dream self lives on the same moon in the other tower. It was suggested by Rose's future self, who is fully awake in the tower, that Dave had already been awake in his tower all along without realizing it. This was suggested in a conversation she had in the future with Dave. It was an alternate future timeline not meant to be. This future timeline came about by this series of events. Dave was able to enter the medium by connecting with Jade and his server player. Jade got copies of the game from the Frog Runes after she delivered John's package to her past self. She snuck into the ruins while Beck was asleep and retrieved the game from a Lotus time capsule which had been ticking down for millions of years. The game was Dave's copy from the future, the same one that fell out the window with the impaled crow. Once she got the game, the time capsule started ticking down again, set to expire 413 years later when the exiles are there. She dropped some items in the ruins, leaving them there for AR to find, and leaving her bass jammed in the elevator. Beck then found her there, took her back to her room, and grounded her there for the rest of the evening. She quickly helped Dave set up the game, upgrading his alchemitter heavily and crafting the special item he needed to enter the medium, a red egg, which needed to be incubated and hatched to activate. She prototyped his kernel sprite with the impaled crow, which would affect the enemies later, including the Black Queen. The sprite built a nest on top of his apartment's antenna tower and stole the egg to incubate it for hours. A very large meteor was soon bearing down on the city. Dave then entered the medium through a series of unseen events. Jade was asleep, thus forbidden by Dave from interacting with his environment at all. Jade complied for fear of retribution. Dave was faced with the crow sprite, which appeared to be suggesting he prototype it again with the remains of little Cal. Dave consulted with John on this, who was about to rocket up to the 7th gate. John had no advice and proceeded up through the gate against better judgment. Dave prototyped the sprite with Cal. John entered the palace, presumably found the denizen, and was easily killed by it, as was the intent of GC's trick on him. This meant John could not establish a connection with Jade to rescue her from the looming meteor, and Dave and Rose lost contact with her, presuming her dead. Dave and Rose then spent the next 4 months in the medium, advancing as far as they could, to collect information before Dave decided to travel back in time to change events. Dave used his timetables to go back to the moment he was about to prototype with Cal. Both he and his past self strongly urged John not to go through the gate. John was reluctant at first, but soon reconsidered and flew down beneath the clouds. Future Dave then gave present Dave all his advanced gear and prototyped the Crow Sprite with himself to make Dave's Sprite, thus serving as his own guide from the future. Before going back in time, Future Dave convinced Future Rose to go to sleep. He suggested her dream self would be unaltered by the timeline shift, and in her dream state she would remember the events from the future. When Dave went back, Rose's future dream self assumed the position of Rose's present dream self. Rose fell asleep on Dursa's moon. She instantly woke up. She then saw all the genetic scrawling she did in meow letters and understood their meaning. Meanwhile, on Durst below, the Black Queen again insisted that Jack Noir abide by the dress code. He refused, and the Queen threatened him. He picked up Jade's package to John, removed what was inside, and used it to slice her ring finger off. He then killed the Black Queen, put on the ring, and donned the full upgrade supplied by the 3 prototypings. He then became Jackspur's Norlacrow, which is a name I just made up now. And then, after that, you started watching me type in this ridiculous study I photoshopped for myself with my cool horse painting propped up in the background.
Oh, the Photoshop is a link to a website.
Oop.
It's a link to buy Photoshop.
Oh.
Fuck Photoshop.
Fuck Adobe. Adobe sucks.
Ooh, cool horse painting. Oh, it's from his actual blog. Bro, that horse painting, though.
Oh, that's a cool horse painting.
Anyway. Andrew Hussey. I didn't read any of that. Do something less boring.
MSP reader. Shut the hell up.
Andrew Hussey. Retrieve arm from background.
Huh. Oh, Cal, please. Not now.
Oh no. Andrew Hussey, why don't you keep drawing Homestuck or something?
Oh, but I don't merely draw Homestuck. Type equals greater than. I'm about to make a joke.
Equals grading then.
I conjure this intrepid fantasyscape with tears bled from the wisdom-weary eyes of 50,000 imaginary magicians. I pull heavy drags from the brooms of inspiration, with enchanted bellows maraud from guild of churlish mythical dwarves. Vast bulbous riddle spikes push the silken strands of pure whimsy through hideous abdominal spinnerets, and it is that with which I weave this audacious cocoon of exquisite lies. And when it hatches, a great moth of titillation will awaken and roar and beat its wings, and the powder settling down will arrest the humors of an enormous, terrible old beggar, relaxing the vulture's leathery vice grip he's fixed around your captive minds.
Andrew Hussey, this is stupid. Stop being a wise ass and get drawing.
No, alright. It won't be that exciting to watch, though. I'll pull up Photoshop again. Here's the file I was using for the 4th wall. What do you want me to draw? Oh, I love that he also doesn't name any of his layers, like me.
Andrew Hussey, can you show us what's going on with John again?
Sure. How about if I drag the content from one of the John files under the 4th wall layer, so we can make a more gracefully transition out of this ludicrous, highly disruptive self-insert arc.
Andrew Hussey, that sounds like a good idea.
Oh, and then you can type something like, switch Wall's view to show us what's going on with John. Here, I'll prepare the GIF file for that. It'll just take a few seconds. Go ahead, say it.
We'll say it. No, we'll say it right now. Switch Wall's view to show us what's going on with John.
You decide. That's entirely enough of that. If this website becomes any more self-aware in a playfully self-deprecating yet weirdly self-aggrandizing manner, you're going to go down a bag of puppies and... oh god! You're going to go drown a bag of puppies in a sewer.
Jesus. Well, I'd say... with a quick equals greater than... John, answer GC, but we're not going to do that this time. We're going to do that next time on Homestuck. I hope, those puppies ain't gonna make it. I hope those of you on YouTube enjoyed this hour-long recap episode. Yeah.
Gonna need some honey for my throat.
Oh, I'll give some honey for your throat.
No!
See y'all next time.